Okay, let's discuss macros. So we've already talked about calories, now macros. What are macros? Well, you have calories, which is a unit of energy from food, and then we have macronutrients, which is the accumulate or is basically protein, carbs, fats. And we also have alcohol. Then you have micronutrients, your vitamins, minerals. Okay, but I just want to focus on calories and I want to focus on macros and why they're important. So as I mentioned, the ones that we have, and then RDI, recommended daily intake. We have governments that want to look after our health and they will recommend a certain amount per day. Now, people get so hung up on this. For a fat loss phase, it's very, very different. Okay. Once again, we're trying to reduce body fat. We're not too concerned about whether we're consuming too much one or the other. If you lose body fat, you will dramatically improve your health because you reduce fatty deposits in your blood, which means you'll improve your overall health. Don't be getting hung up on about, oh, should I have more fats? Oh, should I have more carbs? Oh, am I eating too much protein? Trust me, you're not doing any of those things. You don't need to worry about it, all right? Too many people get too hung up on this. Cutting down, not cutting out. I see this so many times. You gotta make sure that the foods that you're making or food choices that you're making are relevant to fat loss, that they're going to help you. I see so many people just trying to go, oh, if it fits your macros, and then they're just eating absolute crap throughout the day. 4 bars of chocolates or protein bars, and then all their calories are used up. Remember what I said, calories is currency. We want to make sure that we use that currency wisely. Whey protein and fiber. Fiber is not talked about enough. I even struggle to get this out in terms of content because no one cares. Fiber is just as important as protein. It's absolutely massive. So massive, okay? And the two of them will help keep you fuller for longer. And this game is about keeping you fuller for longer so we can suppress both hunger and food cravings. So that way you're not going to go over your calories. You'll stay in a calorie deficit for longer. You'll lose more body fat. And then when you're happy with how you look and feel, then we can start to reverse the process. It's very, very simple. Carbs, when to use them, calories, proteins for fat loss. Cool. So carbs, fats, and then the RDIs. Okay. You're going to want during a fat loss, give or take, you will want, 1 gram is going to be 4 calories. Same with protein, or sorry, so protein, carbs, 1 gram is going to be 4 calories. Fats is much higher, okay? It's 9 grams. So obviously, fat is so high in calories, we want to have slightly less, but we still need it. And I'll get into that, okay? With protein, your range during a fat loss phase, which will help you, should be around 1.6 to 2 grams per kilo of body weight. 2 kilos is probably on the higher end. If you're hitting anywhere between 1.6 to 1.8, you'll be absolutely fine. That's per kilo of body weight. So to give you an example, okay, I weigh about 74 kilos at the moment. So my protein intake is around 140 to 160 grams of protein per day. Now, if you're in pounds, it's just whatever weight your body weight is in pounds. So 1 pound per pound of body weight, or your ideal body weight that you're going for. So I weigh about 165, 170 pounds roughly. My math's not that great. As I just mentioned, I should try and get about 160 to 170 grams per day. Don't get hung up on this. Don't be thinking, oh my God, I need to hit this number every day. In and around that number, absolutely fine. You're a human being. It's not like if you hit the same number all the time, you turn into this massive robot and you get real muscly and shredded. It's not how it works, okay? Some days you're going to hit your protein target. Some days you're going to be slightly off. It's okay as long as you're in and around that number. You have fats, you need fats. They're absolutely important for hormonal health. Can't stress this enough. But how much you need, when it comes to fat loss, I wouldn't. Some people like a higher fat diet, some people like a higher carb diet. I like a higher carb diet, okay, because it just aids with my training. Some people like a high fat diet. It's not the end of the world. When it comes to fat loss, as long as we have relatively good protein intake, reasonably good fiber intake, the distribution between carbs and fats don't make a difference as long as you're in a calorie deficit. You're going to hear a lot of crap online. Trust me, I've been doing this for a very, very long time and I'm well educated in it. As long as the calories are okay, you hit your protein target and you get relative fiber intake in, the distribution between carbs and fats doesn't matter. It does not matter. Carbs don't make you fats. Fats don't make you fat. The accumulation of too many calories, and when you're going to a calorie surplus, is what makes you fat, because now you have too much energy and your body needs to store that energy because it thinks it's going to go through some form of famine down the line. And if it does, it needs to have that stored energy. Very, very simple, basic human physiology. So All these are absolutely vital for health. And as I said, you want to definitely cut down on saturated fats. That's going to be highly processed foods. Okay, think of your glazed donut is going to have like 15 grams of fat, which is just absolutely absurd, or even more, 20 grams. Is that going to be good fats for you? No, definitely not. Okay, good fats. You're obviously, you'll have the foods for fat loss, but you'll need certain type of fats, and you need to hit that marker to some degree. It's only inevitable that you should reduce your alcohol consumption to some degree. Fat loss phase is not forever. Get in, get the job done, get back out. But when you are drinking alcohol, know that the calories is 7 calories, and the thing about alcohol is that's wasted calories, pretty much wasted calories. You're not using that for anything. You know what I mean? It's just that's not going to be processed as energy to go and support your gym workout. Yeah, so when you've hit your goal with protein, fats, whatever, fill in the rest. Very, very simple. Okay. So cutting down, not cutting out. Can't stress this enough. Baked goods that are highly processed, as I mentioned, cakes, donuts, these foods are so high in calories and so small in density that they're not that filling. And the way your tummy works is you eat these, you eat a donut, and your brain goes, wow, that was amazing, have another one. Because your stomach has sensors in it. And if it's not filling up and pressuring and food pressing against that stomach, that's why people get bariatric surgery, then you're not getting that feedback loop to say, no, we have enough, my stomach's full. That's why it's very easy to eat a couple of donuts and still feel like, geez, I could eat more than that. Or sometimes why you get McDonald's and you're like, I could eat another one. So you need to cut down on that. That is like, I see so many people online at the moment, like, oh, look how to be in a calorie deficit and eat shit all the time. That doesn't work. It doesn't fly. Yes, you can have flexibility with it. You can fit it in and you can be reasonable with it, but you definitely need to cut down. Okay. Obviously fried food, they're obviously going to be very high. These are stuff that you're going to get from your takeaways and stuff. As I said, once every now and then, they're not going to do any harm. This is not what this is about. I'm just trying to make you aware that these foods are very high in calories, very high in saturated fat, and the volume is a very low, and it's not going to do you much good. Okay. Largely speaking, during a fat loss phase, you want to try and cut down your saturated fats as best as possible. It's only for a small period. I'm not saying saturated fats are the devil. They're not. They're just high in calories, and they're not going to do you any favors during the fat loss phase. That's all you need to know. You don't need to overcomplicate this, okay? Why protein and fiber? Protein will help obviously support muscle recovery if you're doing training, but also you just need protein in general. And then fiber is absolutely vital for, and hunger, sorry, protein is obviously vital for when it comes to hunger in satiety. It can help, all right, because it takes a while to digest, the exact same way as fiber works. Fiber has to go down to the very lower end of the intestines, and it takes longer to digest because it's partially non-digestible to some degree. It just takes longer to break down. Because these mechanisms require more energy to break down, you don't feel as hungry when you have fruits, vegetables, lean meats. That's why, because your body's trying to break it down. It's like, hold on, stall there a little bit. I need to break this down. And fiber for gut health. You need gut health. Believe it or not, there's an absolute army of microbes, organisms in your body, especially in your colon, and they can send signals to your brain. And the more of this crap that you eat, the more you're going to want. That is scientifically proven. The more donuts you eat, the more cravings you're going to get for food. Whereas the more you eat it is, the less food cravings you get, because you're feeding the microbes, organisms. Geez, I can't say that word right. And largely speaking, you're keeping your gut nice and healthy. That's what you want. So protein, fiber, great for hunger and cravings. I cannot express this enough. And what annoys me is no one wants to hear that. No one wants to hear, oh God, I need to eat fruit and vegetables. Yes, you do. You need to grow up a little bit and start eating your fruit and vegetables. They're good for you. Vegetables, you got to learn how to mix them in with certain ingredients. Fruits, if you don't like the taste of fruits, it's because your taste palables are destroyed from eating things like this. Okay. If you reduce these and add more of these in it, these start to taste nice again. Trust me. I remember going through competition prep, eating a strawberry and just thinking that is the most sweetest thing I've ever tried. And then after competition prep, I was eating these and I realized, oh, this doesn't taste as good anymore. Once I got back on my plan after, having a couple of days of overindulging, these start to taste nice again. And they're, that is very, very important to get across. Carbs, when to use them. I will always distribute my carbs pre and post training. If you're not that type of person, you can spread them out throughout the day. And also, it is no harm to save some before you go to bed, because to keep you fuller, which means you'll be able to go to sleep and get a good night's rest, which is absolutely vital for fat loss. If you are lacking sleep during a fat loss journey, your body is in a heightened state and cravings and stuff are going to be through the roof. Sleep is so important. You need to get some sleep. But carbs, very simple, just a couple of carbs and protein before training, carbs and protein after training. And then final note, carbs and protein don't make you fat. I just have to constantly mention that. Calories and protein for fat loss. So always try and you have your calorie target, you have your protein target. Focus on those two first. Every meal that you have, how do you build it around protein intake? You want to make sure you don't go over your calorie target, and you want to aim to hit your protein target. If you focus on those two, you'll naturally fill in the rest with carbs and fats of food groups that you generally enjoy, and hopefully you'll start making better food choices and adding a little bit more of these in. That is it. Hopefully that's not too complicated.